Okay, so I wanted to give you a few tips for effective peer response, and I thought it might be good to do it in the form of a narrated PowerPoint. So these are some things you should remember, and they'll be reflected in the rubric that I'm going to use to grade you on your peer response. Okay, so tip number one, react as a reader. Okay, you know when something makes you laugh or when something confuses you, so tell the writer that. Point to it in the essay, say, this really made me laugh and I liked it, or I really am not sure what you're saying here. Make I statements instead of you statements. So rather than saying your paper is confusing, say, I'm not sure what you were trying to say here. Can you clarify that? That way the focus is on you and not on the writer, so it doesn't make them defensive. It allows you to give your reactions, and that way the writer can decide what they want to do with that information. Okay, tip number two, tell the writer what works and why. We often forget to say what's good in a paper. We're too focused on finding the mistakes. But don't just say it's good. Tell them why part of the essay is good, why it works. Does it hold your interest? Did it make you visualize what they were saying? Did it pull you into the story? Did it make you smile? Simply saying, oh, it's all good, is not very helpful, and it's kind of a cop-out. Try to explain what they're doing that works. Did they include some good detail? Did they use a phrase or a sentence? That way, if the writer knows what they're doing well, then they can keep doing it. Number three, it's not your paper, it's theirs. Okay, you may always make suggestions, but you shouldn't say, you should fix this part this way. You can ask a question. You say, have you ever thought about writing it this way? Or you could offer a tentative suggestion. But you need to allow the writer to retain ownership. So it's always better just to kind of point to things and say, maybe you need to rework this. And tip number four, do not comment on grammar at the draft stage. This is a work in progress. Focus on what the writer is trying to say, the content, the big picture stuff. You'll have time to make grammar comments after the writers revised their draft and they're happy, but nobody stood over Vincent van Gogh's shoulder and said, look, you missed a spot right there, right? Because he's not done yet, okay? And in summary, okay, so try for 4 or 5 comments at least. That's a minimum. Use I statements. Ask questions of the writer. What are you trying to say here? I'm not sure. Be very specific. Don't just say, I didn't get this. Try to explain why. Offer suggestions, but don't try to take over their paper. React always as a reader. And remember, there's a person behind those words. So only say and write the kinds of comments that you would like to receive. And like I said, I'll have a rubric for you as well. But these are just some things to keep in mind.